Welcome to Comfort TV, the channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. In the headlines, Aso Villa under tight security as the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu protest grips Abuja. Soludo distances itself from Biafra agitation. Senate seeks inclusion of mental health in school curriculum. Outrage as pensioners are stripped of NHIS benefits. Lagos government launches Trash for Cash drive to promote recycling. Senator Umahi says President Tinubu is working to complete Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. On business, Nestle cuts 16,000 jobs amid $1 billion savings plan. Ethiopian Airlines pays NCAA sanction fee for consumer protection violations on the foreign scene. Chinese leader Xi outlines 5-year plan at closed-door Communist Party meeting. Kuwait welcomes Pakistan-Afghanistan ceasefire agreement. Japan permits females to buy contraceptive pills without doctor's prescription. On sports, Asian Water marches historic Chelsea feat set by retired England international. Nigeria Super Eagles cancel friendlies in USA due to FIFA World Cup playoffs. Now the news. Heavy security presence enveloped the presidential villa and major routes across Abuja on Monday following plans for a protest demanding the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The demonstration, organized by activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore, convener of the hashtag Revolution Now movement, caused traffic disruptions at key entry points into the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). Security agencies, including soldiers, police officers, and hooded operatives of the Department of State Services (DSS), were deployed in large numbers, sealing off access to the 3 armed zones and intensifying stop-and-search operations. Even staff of the presidential villa with official parking permits were redirected to alternative routes as all entry points around the State House were temporarily closed. The security measures caused heavy gridlock along the Kefi-Abuja Expressway as soldiers mounted checkpoints at the Karu Bridge near the Sani Abacha Barracks as early as 4 a.m. Civil servants and traders commuting from Nyanya, Karu, Mararaba, and Masaka were particularly affected. Similar security cordons were reported along the Dutse-Bwari axis and Airport Road, where travelers headed towards the Central Business District were advised to take detours. Security patrols were also visible around Eagle Square, the Federal Secretariat, and the National Assembly to prevent possible disruptions. Nnamdi Kanu, who was arrested and extradited to Nigeria in June 2021, remains in detention despite multiple court orders for his release. His supporters have continued to mount pressure on the federal government, citing concerns over his deteriorating health. Meanwhile, the special advisor to the President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has called on legal regulatory bodies in Nigeria to sanction one of the lawyers representing the detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, Mr. Aloy Ejimako, for participating in the ongoing hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu protest in Abuja. Onanuga made the call in a post on his X, formerly Twitter, handle on Monday, where he criticized Ejimako for joining the demonstration organized by human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore. According to the presidential aide, Ejimako's participation in the protest undermines legal ethics, given that Kanu's case is still before a competent court. Onanuga noted that the prosecution had already concluded its case and that it was now the duty of Kanu's legal team to focus on presenting a strong defense rather than engaging in public demonstrations. He urged the relevant legal authorities, including the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) and the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee (LPDC), to examine Ejimako's conduct and consider appropriate sanctions for what he described as unethical behavior. Elsewhere, the popular Eda Buildings Material Plaza in the Jabi area of Abuja has been shut down after police fired tear gas to disperse protesters, leaving customers and traders caught in the ensuing chaos. The protesters, who were demanding the release of the detained leader of IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, had converged in the area chanting "Free Nnamdi Kanu" before police officers arrived at the scene. Eyewitnesses said officers fired multiple tear gas canisters into the plaza, unable to distinguish between protesters and traders, causing panic as people scrambled for safety. Several individuals reportedly sustained minor injuries. The protest, which had earlier moved through the Bega and Utako areas, culminated at Jabi before the police action. Before reaching Bega, the group had initially gathered around the Maitama area near the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), where security operatives also used tear gas to disperse them. Following the incident, the Edda Plaza management ordered an immediate closure of business activities to prevent further escalation. The governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, has dissociated himself from separatist agitation in the southeast, insisting that the region's progress and prosperity are intrinsically tied to its unity with the Nigerian Federation. Speaking on an interview, the former Central Bank of Nigeria governor clarified that while he supports peaceful dialogue and the right to protest, he does not share the secessionist ideology espoused by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. He explained that the controversial sit-at-home order has largely lost traction in Anambra, attributing the change to improved security and public awareness. Governor Soludo acknowledged that the IPOB leadership, including Kanu himself, had repeatedly disowned the sit-at-home directive, blaming criminal elements for exploiting it to unleash terror in the region. Reaffirming his belief in the unity and interdependence of Nigeria's diverse ethnic groups, Soludo said the Igbo people stand to gain more within a united Nigeria. Meanwhile, the commercial city of Onitsha and the industrial town of Nnewi in Anambra State were completely shut down on Monday as residents complied with the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu protest taking place in Abuja. Although Mondays have long been observed as sit-at-homes in the southeast due to earlier directives by pro-Biafra groups, the lockdown on Monday was notably different, with residents voluntarily staying off the roads in solidarity with the ongoing protest for the release of the detained IPOB leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Unlike previous Mondays when limited movement was seen, despite the unofficial sit-at-home, there was almost an absence of human and vehicular activity. The major highways, Onitsha-Enugu, Onitsha-Asaba, Niger Bridge, and Onitsha-Owerri were deserted, including the usually busy streets within the towns. Banks, schools, hospitals, and government offices were closed, while roadside shops and markets also remained locked. Even youths who were typically seen playing football and other games on the street during sit-at-home days were nowhere in sight. Popular fast food outlets, which usually operate on Mondays, also shut their doors to customers. Although no physical protest took place in Onitsha and Nnewi, reportedly due to the heavy presence of soldiers and military vehicles, residents chose to remain indoors. Elsewhere, major streets in Enugu were also deserted on Monday as residents partially complied with the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest declared by activist Omoyele Sowore. Although the protest was expected to take place physically, many residents opted to stay off the streets in solidarity with the ongoing demonstrations in Abuja, calling for the release of the detained IPOB leader. While government offices were open, activities were minimal, with only a handful of workers present. A visit by our correspondents revealed also that commercial banks and schools, shop malls remained closed. There was no movement of commercial vehicles within the Enugu metropolis. Business activities were completely grounded as markets were locked, public and private schools shut down, and banks and offices failed to open for operations. Petrol and gas stations also closed, leaving the city unusually quiet and almost empty. The Nigerian Senate has called for the integration of mental health education into the national academic curriculum as part of efforts to address the growing psychological and emotional challenges facing students and educators across the country. The chairman, Senate Committee on Health, Senator Dr. Ipabilo Harry Banigo, made the call during a mental health program organized by the Mandate Health Empowerment Initiative in Abuja. Delivering the keynote address, Dr. Banigo, who also serves as Grand Patron and the Association of Mental Health Reform Organization in Africa, underscored the strong link between mental health, discipline, and academic productivity. The senator lamented the growing trend of academic burnout, substance use, and emotional distress among students and teachers in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. She affirmed the Senate Committee's commitment to ensuring that every learner in Nigeria can thrive both mentally and academically, while outlining a series of measures to advance this goal. The event featured two flagship activities: a National Students, Parents, Teachers Roundtable in Abuja and a continental webinar hosted on the AMHROA. Both events focused on bridging education and mental health reforms. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners Contributory Pension Scheme Sector (NUPCPS) has condemned the removal of retired workers from assessing the National Health Insurance Scheme (NHIS), describing the decision as unfair and inhumane. The National Secretary, Mr. John Beeson, voiced the union's displeasure during a two-day sensitization and enlightenment workshop on the workings of the Contributory Pension Scheme (CPS) held in Lagos. Mr. Beeson lamented that many retirees were being denied health insurance coverage at a time in their lives when they needed it most, despite having served the nation faithfully during their productive years. He warned that the policy has left many senior citizens vulnerable, with several battling health challenges such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart conditions, without the financial means to afford medication and treatment. Responding to the concerns, the Director General of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, Ms. Omolola Oloworaron, represented by Mr. Mutiyu Muslim, head of the Commission's Southwest Zonal Office, said that PENCOM had rolled out a free healthcare access initiative for low-income retirees under the Contributory Pension Scheme. The Lagos State government has launched a new initiative encouraging residents to turn their trash into cash by exchanging disposable recyclable items for money. The initiative is part of efforts to promote a cleaner and greener environment across the state. Announcing the development on his official X handle, the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokumbo Wahab, said the government, through the Lagos Waste Management Authority, LOMA, has begun sensitization campaigns across communities to educate residents on how to earn money from recyclables. In a related post, LOMA reaffirmed the Commissioner's message, highlighting its ongoing engagement with communities to promote responsible waste management. The state government said the initiative will help create a cleaner environment, empower residents through income from recyclable materials, and support Lagos's goal of becoming an Africa's cleanest and most sustainable megacity. The Minister of Work, Senator Dave Umahi, says President Bola Tinubu is working very hard to ensure the completion of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway by the end of the year. Senator Umahi said this while addressing newsmen after inspecting the progress of work on the Aba end of the project. He said that over 85% of the Federal Ministry of Works had directed the contractors to maintain the completed Aba Umahia section. He also directed the Federal Comptroller of Works in Abia to visit all ongoing federal government project sites in the state at least once a week. Senator Umahi emphasized that this would help in the early detection of potential problems and help prevent road failures. He also said that many roads had become national priorities because of their poor condition when the president assumed office. He emphasized the president's commitment to provision of functional and durable road infrastructure in the nation. Comfort TV, the channel's news, returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Comfort TV, the channel news. On business, food and beverage giant Nestle has announced plans to cut 16,000 jobs worldwide as part of a sweeping $1 billion cost-saving program, a move that has sparked questions about potential impact on its extensive African operations. Nestle's announcement of plans to cut 16,000 jobs globally is likely to send ripples through African markets where the food and beverage giant maintains a significant footprint. The layoffs, which include 12,000 white-collar positions in management and office roles and 4,000 in manufacturing, logistics and supply chain departments, are part of Nestle's global restructuring aimed at boosting profitability and streamlining operations. Nestle's new CEO, Mr. Philip Navratil, who took over in September, acknowledged the scale of the company's upcoming restructuring, saying Nestle needs to change fast at the pace of the world. He added that the company aims to substantially reduce costs, raising its total savings target to $3 billion by the end of 2027. Onto the foreign scene, Chinese leader Xi outlines 5-year plans. The Chinese leader Xi Jinping delivered a speech on the opening day of a major meeting of the ruling Communist Party to approve a draft plan laying out its goals for the country over the next 5 years. A short dispatch from the official Xinhua's news agency said Xi expounded on the party's leadership draft proposal for the next 5-year plan for national economic and social development, which will cover 2026 to 2030. It did not provide any details. Analysts and investors are watching the meeting to look for clues about how the plan will balance economic and security interests and to what extent the plan will call for structural changes to boost consumer spending and manage an aging society. The body will approve the draft 5-year plan, though full details likely won't be released until it is formally approved at the legislature's next annual meeting expected in March. Still on the foreign scene, the state of Kuwait welcomed the agreements reached in Qatar between Pakistan and Afghanistan on an immediate ceasefire and the establishment of mechanisms to consolidate lasting peace and stability between the two countries. Kuwait expressed hope that this step will help end tensions and strengthen security and stability in line with the aspirations of the peoples of both countries. In a statement, Kuwait's Ministry of Foreign Affairs praised the constructive efforts and tireless endeavors led by Qatar and Turkey in hosting and sponsoring the negotiations that culminated in the agreement. The ministry stressed the importance of dialogue and adherence to diplomatic means to resolve disputes and enhance regional and international security. Japan has given regulatory approval for an over-the-counter contraceptive pill. Its manufacturer said on Monday the first time the socially conservative country has green-lighted so-called morning-after medication without a prescription. Rights groups have long criticized the fact that women in Japan can only access emergency medication to prevent pregnancy with a doctor's prescription and a trip to the clinic or pharmacy. That puts many women off, particularly rape victims and teenage girls, according to campaigners. Drug maker Asko Pharmaceuticals said in a press release on Monday that it had obtained manufacturing and marketing approval for its over-the-counter contraceptive Norlevo. There will be no age restrictions on buyers and no requirement for parental consent. However, the pill will be labeled as medicine requiring guidance, meaning women will have to take it in the presence of a pharmacist. The emergency contraceptive pill can prevent pregnancy within 72 hours of sex, but become less effective over time. Discussions on making it available without a prescription in Japan began at a health ministry panel in 2017. The approval follows a small-scale pilot project launched 2 years ago at just 145 of the country's pharmacies, or less than 0.2% of the total. The price was set between 7,000 and 9,000 yen, $47 and $60 approximately during the trial, which took place in 2023. The morning after pill is already available without a prescription in more than 90 countries. In 90 other countries. The World Health Organization says on its website that emergency contraception should be routinely included within all national family planning programs. On sports, it was a proud moment for 2025 Flying Eagles invitee Chizaram Ezenwata after he matched the long-standing Chelsea milestone held by retired England international of Nigerian heritage Carlton Cole. According to Chelsea Youth, Ezenwata found the net for the 6th consecutive game in the Under-18 Premier League as the Young Blues were held to a 2-2 draw by Tottenham Hotspur. In doing so, the 17-year-old becomes the first Chelsea player to score in 6 straight Academy League matches since Cole achieved the feat 24 years ago. Three other players of Nigerian descent, Ike Ubo, Dominic Solanke and Tammy Abraham, have previously scored in 5 successive under-18 Premier League games, falling just short of matching the record. The young forward has now registered 7 goals and 1 assist in 6 under-18 Premier League appearances, playing a key role in helping Chelsea remain unbeaten in the division. Still on sports, Nigeria will not be going ahead with planned friendlies against Venezuela and Colombia in the USA next month after the Super Eagles qualified for the World Cup playoffs, which take place in Morocco at the same time. The NFF had announced the 2 games last month, with the Super Eagles scheduled to play Venezuela on November 14 at the Shell Energy Stadium in Houston and Colombia on November 18 at Citi Field in New York. Tickets for both games were already on sale, but a top NFF official told newsmen at the time that the games were conditional on the team's World Cup fate and would only proceed if Nigeria avoid being drawn into the CAF World Cup playoff round, either by qualifying directly for the World Cup or failing to make it entirely. Last week, the Super Eagles beat Benin Republic to qualify for the World Cup playoffs, which takes place on November 13 to 16. An official told newsmen that the friendlies have now been shelved. And that's our news bulletin today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Aso Villa under tight security as #Free Nnamdi Kanu protest grips Abuja. Governor Soludo distances self from Biafra agitation. Senate seeks inclusion of mental health in school curriculum. Outrage as pensioners are stripped of NHIS benefits. Lagos government launches trash to cash drive to promote recycling. Senator Umahi says President Tinubu is working to complete Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. On business, Nestle cuts 16,000 jobs amid $1 billion savings plan. On the foreign scene, Chinese leader Xi outlines 5-year plan at closed-door Communist Party meeting. On sports, Asian water matches, historic Chelsea feat set by retired England national. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews, and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.